When did your dad get his, his two turntables and microphone? Was it like late 70s?
No, early. Oh, I'd say 74, 75.
Wow.
Him and one of his mates actually built it. They put the amp in it, they put the turntables in it, they wired it all up, they made it, and then they put made a flight case for it. I can remember there was one dude, he used to dress like a vampire and that, a yellow cape and that. It was a black dude and that, but he used to rap. We battled Rocksteady Crew on concrete in Covent Garden.
Was you part of that? Was you part of that battle?
Yeah. I met Crazy Legs a couple of years later in New York, and I reminded him about it. He was like, "Oh man, you guys in London, you're crazy, man. You fuck kebab."
Oh, brilliant! Right, lights, camera, action. On this week's show, we have one of the early UK MCs who was an absolute beast on the microphone, who released tracks such as I'm Riffin', Miracles, and many more. We have the one and the only MC Duke in the place.
What's good, Steve? What's up, people?
Great to have you on board, Duke.
Yeah, man, yeah. We've been talking about it for a minute, on and off, I
don't know why it's taken so long, but we're here now.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's a real honor to talk to you, and we're going to take it back to the root, back to where it all kind of started for you. So, like the first two questions I always ask is, whereabouts are you from, and what was it growing up, as a youngster?
Well, grew up in Forest Gate in East London, youngest of 4 children. I grew up on Green Street, so I was very familiar with getting into a fight with skinheads at a very young age.
You're West Ham supporter?
Yeah. Well, I grew up. You always support your local team, not like these kids nowadays. They live in London and they're all talking about Manchester United and all them things there. That's not the era I grew up in. So yeah, I was a West Ham supporter. Yeah.
Yeah. And, those times, I mean, it was quite difficult times back in, you growing up the same era as me, and so late 60s and the 70s. So it was a very it was hard, very hard sort of upbringing, but also it was a very kind of, I don't know, was you like me where it was kind of very kind of community spirit, everybody was kind of looking out for each other?
Yes and no, because at that particular time when I was growing up in Forest Gate, there was that's when you had an influx of people that got kicked out by Idi Amin. So I grew up and I was an immigrant. Then another batch of immigrants come in, and so that's why then when you had the racial divide of that era, so the black community kind of stood together. What would happen is most people from specific islands would have like community dances and stuff like that. So in that form, there was a more of a community spirit. But then in the street, you're living next to a kid who's just come from Pakistan, a kid who's just come from Uganda, white kid, black kid from Jamaica. My people are from St. Lucia. So it was, growing up, it was multicultural.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And, what kind of music was you listening to growing up? Was you into like the reggae sounds?
When I was probably about 7 or 8, my dad got me a turntable. He used to be a drummer in a band, and then he became a DJ. 2 turntables in a flight case, blah blah blah. So from early, I was introduced to 2 turntables and a microphone. He got me an old Harvard turntable, and I didn't have no records. And he said, "Go in the basement. There's loads of records down there." So I went down in the basement, and there was all your everything: Elvis, James Brown, big band music, old ska music, just everything you could think of that had been out in terms of 7 inches and stuff like that in the previous 20 to 30 years was all down there in old beer bottle crates.
And I personally think, I mean, I was the same as you. My mum and dad were a big inspiration when it comes to music, because my mum and dad were like mods of the late 50s and the 60s. So I was growing up on that kind of mod music. Booker T and the MGs, the Beatles, the Bachelors, the Kinks, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
you know, your parents are really like a big inspiration. When did your dad get his, you know, his two turntables and microphone? Was it like late 70s?
No, early. Oh, I'd say 74, 75.
Wow.
Him and one of his mates actually built it. They put the amp in it, they put the turntables in it, they wired it all up, they made it, and then they put made a flight case for it.
That's
You know,
amazing.
so
And was they going around like DJing in pubs and like doing
yeah,
weddings
yeah,
and things like that?
yeah. That's exactly what he was doing. Pubs, weddings, you know, um, yeah, wakes, wherever people wanted to hear music. Because back then, the reggae sound systems only used to use one turntable,
Mm.
but through whatever he knew to go to two turntables for the mix kind of thing, so that the music could be continuous. He modelled his style of DJing on what what was happening in the clubs in New York and stuff like that. To me, there was always first it was a drum kit that was taking up most of the living room, and then it was two turntables and speakers. And now I'm exactly the same. Look behind me. You understand what I mean? You know, it's just, that's how it is. I've always even from as soon as I started getting my money together and that, boom, I went and bought equipment, because I grew up with always having equipment around me.
And how old was you when you was like rocking the microphone? Was you like what was it kind of like in the late 70s?
Yeah, well, obviously, like everybody's first introduction into rap over here is Rapper's Delight.
Mm.
But I was listening to people like Pigmeat Markham. Pigmeat Markham brought out. I was born in '66, so I'm nearly 55. Yes, I'm getting old, people.
So so Duke, you're like proper old school. You're like a fossil.
Well, you could call it that, but if you dig up a fossil, it's worth a lot of money if you dig up the right one. You feel me?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Pigmeat Markham, he came out with a track called Here Come the Judge in 1968. You understand me? Now, that's 2 years after I was born, and I grew up knowing that rap from when I was a kid.
Wow.
I even said in riffing, Here Comes the Judge.
You did.
Do you understand? It's that deep that it was embedded in my brain. I even repeated some of the lyrics from the track. So that's the earliest rap tune. And then there was other stuff that was it was like comedic. I can remember there was one dude. He used to dress like a vampire and that, a yellow cape and that. It was a black dude and that, but he used to rap. I can't remember his goddamn name. But I mean, you know, I was listening to rap before hip hop even had a name. Do you understand what I'm saying? I've always known about putting words together. You know, I remember, you know, there might be a guy out there that remembers. There was a kid called Michael Thomas. Me and him used to go school together and that, and we'd be arguing over who was Master G, and he had a little turntable set up with you know, cardboard around it to make it look like what he's seen in my house and that, and we'd be rapping in his bedroom. You understand me? And this is like, you know, 10, 11 and stuff like that. And I saw him years later, and he was like, "Damn, you were serious. When you said you're gonna be a rapper when you grow up, you were serious." And so there it is.
And you know, Duke, you weren't playing around. I mean, you was an absolute like beast on the microphone.
Well, my skills got honed in Covent Garden, because I basically started that whole Covent Garden thing in '82. I was over there. I was the first body popper over there. There wasn't no body popper or breaker over there before me. This is a fact, right? There was a guy over there called Dr. Stewart who used to do robot, and I taught him to body pop, and he showed me how to do, because he was sick at this robot. So then we mixed the two and we teamed up, and then that started driving a lot more of the street youths towards Covent Garden. And by the following summer, now Covent Garden on the Saturday or the weekend, there was like 1,000 kids from the street all down there trying to learn to body pop and break dance and graffiti. And so yeah, yes, I'd say from about '82. From then I was already putting pen to paper, and I was a good freestyler as well. I could, you know, I was really good at going just off the top of the head.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about you, Duke. I heard that you was wicked at the pop-in, and I was also doing like robotics, like the late '70s or the very very early '80s. I was also doing the robot, which was
Yeah,
connected to the new romantic scene because we all tried to look futuristic. So we'd wear
yeah.
makeup, and then we'd like be doing all these like crazy like robotic moves. I've also seen clips like on Soul Train. I see
Soul Train, yeah,
some clips on Soul Train where people like rocking the robotic styles.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I tell you who were wicked at robot as well. Did you ever see them? Because they was a big inspiration to me. There was a couple of like guys called Tick and Tock.
Yes.
Did you ever
Yeah, I
see?
remember them.
Did you ever see Tick and
Yeah,
Tock in
yeah, yeah,
Covent?
yeah. I remember them. I remember them. I don't know how comes they sort of died off. They died off when everybody started spinning on their head and stuff like that. You understand what I mean? But it wasn't. I wasn't just a body popper. I was a breaker as well. In 1984, they had a high-tech body popping and breaking competition that was nationwide, and the winners of that, obviously, that was Dolby was in that winning team,
Mm.
alongside Bionic, Flip Ski, Special T. They won the team, and I won the individual. You know what I mean? That was 1984. That was a little bag, £1,000, 1984 for spinning on my head and shit.
And can you tell me, was you any like early crews, Duke? Any early like b-boy crews or popping crews?
Yeah, I broke every single crew you can think of that's come from Covent Garden. I was there, bruv, in some form or another. Trust me, Live to Break, All Stars. I was there, man. I was there. Sidewinder, all them crews. Yeah,
But there was some
but it's a long time ago.
there was some wicked crews in Covent Garden. Duke, can you
Yeah.
kind of tell me the importance of Covent Garden as a scene? Because obviously it wasn't just about people doing the robot, the pop-in, the break-in. There's also elements of obviously graffiti. It had everything popping off in Covent Garden, didn't it? From like 82 all the way up to probably around, what was it, like 85, 86 when it kind of started to die off?
Yeah, because 86 was when everybody started getting record deals.
Mm.
See, and most of the people that got the record deals were the mainstay of Covent Garden. So when they stopped going, the scene dead. Simple as that.
Everyone was going. I mean, like Rodney P, London Posse was there. Bionic,
Yeah.
She Rockers,
Yeah,
yourself,
Moni.
Blade. Loads of hip hop artists.
There was about 3 years of Covent Garden that actually birthed the next generation of fashion designers, rappers, DJs, and record labels. And it because the scene was already built. See, when labels like Music Alive come along, I was already famous. Do you understand what I'm saying? Derek B was already famous before the record deals. We was already street famous. We was already making money. So when the record deals come along now, that was just it was an easy fit. Here's hand, that's glove. And so everybody just went in to the next phase, smooth as can be. You understand what I'm saying? Right up until, I'd say, 91, 92. That whole, everything you saw musically had roots somewhere in it that led to Covent Garden.
Was there, Duke, was there any kind of b-boys or was there any kind of poppers that you kind of feared? You thought, wow, like I don't really want to go up against them because they got the maddest moves.
Nah.
You didn't fear anyone.
No. Hip hop ain't about that, bro. It was like, you go for yours, I'm going for mine. You understand me? Like, everybody had one little move that they could do that nobody else ain't doing, and I had a couple of those shits.
What moves? What moves did you have?
There was only really me and DJ Business that was any good at the spider.
Oh, the spider,
But he could do it one way, and I could do it good another way. So I pulled that on you. You ain't going nowhere. You understand what I'm saying? You're done. You ain't got nothing for that really, because it's contortion and you're still breaking. Do you understand what I mean? And then I used to do like a two-handed 1990. I'd spin on one hand and spin on the other, and then drop to the floor, then back flip up out of the drop. You understand what I mean? So yeah, I had my little joints. pull that one out of my back pocket. Ain't really no response for that. You know what I'm saying?
I used to love that spider movies when you got like your two legs.
They're over your shoulders.
Like this, and then didn't you put your arms inside your legs like that, and you lift your legs up and you walk on your hands like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to love that. I used to love
I like
that
the way you tried to. I like the way you tried to demonstrate it there.
I try, but it's not enough. I've got a wall here, so there's not enough. But yeah, you know, Covent Garden, it had so much energy, and the good thing with Covent Garden is that you had people from all around the UK, and not just the UK, also New York would come to Covent Garden to, like, you know, check out this scene.
Yeah, well, we battled Rocksteady Crew on concrete in Covent Garden.
Was you part of that? Was you part of that battle?
Yeah. I met Crazy Legs a couple of years later in New York, and I reminded him about it. He was like, "Oh man, you guys in London, you're crazy, man. You fuck kebab."
Oh, brilliant.
Because we battled them, then we sent them on their way. You understand me? Like, but anyway, he knew, he understood. He knows what it's like. You go to another man's hood, you try and flex. You're lucky you got out of there like without some licks as well. You understand?
Yeah. And also, you know, you got obviously like feared b-boy, battle b-boys like Dolby D. I mean, Dolby D, he knew kind of every inch of those cobblestones, you know. I mean, like dancing on cobblestones is no joke.
No, of course not. But again, Dolby was a dude, you know, he got there around 83, and that as soon as he came out on the scene, he made a very, very big impact performing in the Electric Ballroom. And he shouldn't have even been in there. He was mad underage. You understand me? But that was the first time I seen him. And yeah, he was very, very strong part of the b-boy culture. Very strong.
Yeah, big time, and big shout out to Dolby D. And
yeah, man, my man.
Yeah, Duke. I was also going to say to you as well, you know, it wasn't just about the b-boying and the breaking and the robot and all that. It was also about the graffiti artists, because like the graffiti artists were really kind of, that was like another meeting place for like the graph artists and the taggers. Yeah. So can you tell me about some of the graph artists you was rating them? Now, obviously like the Trailblazers.
Yeah, I mean, I used to move with Scribbler. Scribbler used to kind of hang out with us. And he'd do a little bit of body popping with us and that. And then when he was first learning to like get his things together, obviously the Chrome Angels used to come through there. A gang of them. Then you had people like that was up north that had just come to London, like Goldie, that was doing graph too. So yeah, the graph scene, it kind of went the way it did in New York, where it went from the street and it ended up in galleries. What's happened to hip hop is basically it's been broken up into all different parts. It's the reason why it's not got the same energy it had before is because it's not all one thing anymore. It's all been separated. Yeah. The breakers and the body poppers are over there somewhere now. Red Bull have got a hold of that and they're running with that like they invented it. Do you understand what I'm saying? The music industry tries to jump on anybody that's got a good flow to try and make money out of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? The knowledge part of it is now what is called the woke community. You feel me?
It's not like what do you call it? Like a culture.
Yeah, they don't understand it is a culture.
So yeah, you know, the way we see it back then, you know, hip hop was a culture. You know, it was starting off with popping, and then obviously, you know, graph was put in, the breaking, MCing, the DJing, and then, you know, a bit of beatboxing later on. So, you know, it was more of a kind of culture back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I used to child mine Sipo. So I taught Sipo to beatbox on the way to Covent Garden. You understand? And
wow,
then,
I never knew that. Was yeah, because Sipo, wasn't he from your neck of the woods?
Yeah. He lived I lived at one end of Green Street. He lived at the other end. I used to hang out with some guys on the estate behind West Ham football ground, and I was teaching them to body pop, and he was one of the kids who wanted to learn to body pop. So then he got so good, I was like, damn, if I take him to Covent, we're going to make a bag of money. So I said to his mum, can I take him? And that, so her and the dad said, all right, take him, you know. But I'm sending him home. He's coming back with 20 quid in his pocket. Them time there, that's like near enough what his old man's getting work.
That's
work
probably
for.
like 120 pound, you know, cash in hand.
Do you understand what I mean? And he's coming back. He's coming back every weekend with his pockets full of money. So they was cool. You understand? But anyway, from him going Covent, that's how he met up with Rodney P and Bionic and them.
How about Yankee? Because obviously, you know, Yankee and Sipo were like this because obviously treble and bass.
Yeah, but that Yankee was even again. Yankee met Sipo at Covent Garden, where I bought him there. Yankee's actually on Just This, my first track. He does the beatboxing breakdown on my first track.
I mean, yeah, you know, Yankee and Sipo were absolutely, you know, they was beast on the beatbox. I mean, like you had Yankee with his bass, and he's doing that like the cancer type of bass sound, and then you had like Sipo coming in with that kind of tinny kind of treble noise. Because I remember when Sipo done Tour de France, and he done, and he done that.
Those are all things that we used to practice on the train. On the way to Covent Garden, we'd get on at Upton Park, go down to Mile End, swap to the Central Line, go Holborn, swap again to go Covent Garden. And all the way on the train now, me and him are doing EastEnders, we're doing fucking Tour de France, we're practicing all the way. You understand what I'm saying? As well as him being like, you know, because he obviously, Sipo grew real quick. You understand what I'm saying? Like he got lanky fast. So he was moving with grown-ups when he was a kid. I think it was Big Audio Dynamite he went on tour with. Just him on his own. Do you understand me? Just doing beatboxing, getting money from early. And then they wanted him to bring some MCs, and that's how comes he linked up with
London Posse.
Yeah. Covent Garden was like it was the Mecca. It was the Mecca. It started, it was only a 3 or 4 year period, but it birthed the next generation of DJs, MCs, artists, even business.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really kind of, and it's hard for us to sit here and talk about it unless you was there. But you know, it was a kind of like a central meeting point for everyone, because you know, you get off the train, you'd nip up to Groove Records, or you go to Spats. And then you know, you'd go nip down to Covent Garden, see what was going on, see the graph artists, or you stick your name up on the wall, or do you know what I mean? You see the B-boys. It was a great place.
See, for some tourists, Covent Garden they went there because of the theatres and the restaurants and the pubs and this, that, and the other. Other people came to Covent Garden to watch a man spin on his head, and they came clear from the other side of the planet when they heard about what was going on in Covent. You understand? Like I went on tour with, I don't know if you remember the pop group Modern Romance.
Yeah, I do.
Right, but I think it was 1982 or 83. They took me on tour with them. I was the opening act, body popping. Did you understand what I'm saying? Now, people, I went out all over Europe. People that I met in Europe, I told them about Covent. When they came to England, they came and found me in Covent. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was crazy. So.
And the thing, you know, we've got to say about Covent Garden, it wasn't just a play. You know, I went to Covent Garden in 1982. My mum and dad took me up there. I was checking out the buskers, the fire eaters, the magician, the Charlie Chaplin when he was walking with his little walking stick.
Yeah.
We was going there to check the buskers out. So really, Covent Garden, it started off where the poppers would start to make money.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. That's exactly why I went there. I saw the busking as well. I used to go Pineapple Dance Studios around the corner. You understand me? This is what I was saying, I was already in the entertainment game from before hip hop. So I'd go Pineapple and I'll see people busking and I thought, I can make some paper, because they ain't never seen no shit like this before. The only people they seen do it, in fact, they just about seen Michael Jackson do that. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm doing it live in front of them. And then I'm bringing him out, my man who's dressed like in a suit, but he's acting like a robot. We was taking about £90 a day, cash.
And Duke, was there any kind of rivalry between, you know, all the b-boy popping buskers? I mean, because obviously you had some powerful crews there, and you was all there to earn a few quid.
Yeah, there was, but I was Debo.
What's that? What's that?
You never seen Friday?
Nah.
Oh my God, you've not seen Friday with Ice Cube? and
Nah,
Chris
nah, nah,
Tucker.
nah.
All right, Debo is a character in the film that if he ain't making money, he's taking money.
But he's like the Dill boy of the.
You could put it like that.
Yeah.
Everybody that went Covent will know what I'm talking about. You understand? Yeah, there was rivalries, but I come up I can't be scared of nobody. I ain't backing down from nobody. If I get my arse bust, I'm getting my arse bust. But somebody getting hurt too. It's them ones. You understand what I mean? Because I looked at Covent Garden as I was very possessive.
Yeah.
Very possessive.
You was very passionate.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, Duke, I was going to say to you as well, you know, that the kind of like back in the day, everybody was kind of emceeing in an American kind of twang. I mean, it started obviously with Sugar Hill Gang and all that stuff, 79. And then it kind of started to change around probably 86, 87, 88, I think. But around 87, 88. Yeah. What was that kind of change where people started to come in with more of their kind of London style twang?
I'd give all of that credit to Bionic, because from the very beginning, he was like, I'm not doing that American thing. I'm going to rap in English. I'm going to rap in Cockney. A lot of us, obviously, you emulate what you hear. You understand?
But Bionic was kind of like a reggae style toaster as well.
Well, that's what he did first.
Mm.
That's what he was first. And even he learned it off of another dude. I can't remember the brother's name. But another brother in South London used to do it as well. He would only chant on the mic on reggae, but in Cockney. So Bionic got it from him because of the reggae influence that London Posse had in their music. Everybody, their older brothers or sisters, one generation, not even one generation, half a generation before, was all listening to the sound systems. Tubbies, Coxsone, Saxon, you understand me? So when that come now, that's just, it was like, what happened in the 80s, early 80s, everybody in the black communities all rallied around reggae music as a central thing that was ours. Then when hip hop come through, that was, and then obviously you know the correlations between hip hop and reggae anyway. So hip hop is an extension of reggae in itself. So all you're seeing really is the art form duplicating itself and morphing and creating more cells. Do you understand what I'm saying? And Bionic is that in the genealogy of being an MC. He took how he speaks with the reggae influence and he put it on hip hop.
Yeah. I mean, London Posse are absolute, you know, incredible, and also the Demon Boys as well.
Yeah.
I mean, all you guys were brilliant. I mean, yourself, Merlin, Overlord X. You know, there was Cookie Crew. I mean, there's so many to mention.
Look, I try to tell people now. The reason why you got millionaire MCs now is because of us lot. Right? It's that simple. There was no road. There was no English rap road before we laid the road. So the reason why them man there are up the road driving Lambos now is because we laid the road 25, 30 years ago. It's simple facts, right? And I've said it before on one of my own YouTube videos, that without there being British MCs, you would not have had the birth of all of these different genres of music that have come right up to now, which is grime. It just wouldn't have happened.
But Duke, if you also think about it, it's not just that. Also, the UK side of things, you know, coming out of the UK, you also had like drum and bass, you had jungle, you know, you had all these kind of other musical.
Yeah.
I was going to say to you, can you tell me about some of the early jams you was going to?
What, hip hop wise?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I travel. We used to go wherever there was two turntables. You know, Westwood used to set up in Wormwood Scrubs. I'd be there on the mic. This is, I don't know, 83, 84, and I'd be freestyling like all afternoon. You understand what I'm saying? We compare that. It was right behind the prison. So the people in the prison were jamming to us lot out there in the field. Wherever there was two turntables and a microphone, whether it be, because it ain't like, you know, like nowadays, like the kids can't go nowhere. I could go anywhere, you understand me? And I did used to go anywhere. I'd just up and go. You understand me? On my ones if I had to. because I was about that life. You understand me? I wanted to see who was out there, what the, you know, what the landscape looked like. Because I didn't know I was going to end up with a record deal, but I knew I was going to do something that was going to dent the planet. You understand?
Did you have any kind of fierce battles with any other MCs?
I battled Comanche. I battled a gang of MCs. I was back then, because I'm not a freestyler now, because obviously when I learned to write songs and write music and so on and so forth, the freestyling thing was, it just became, you know, I did that when I was a kid. Now this is serious business. Do you understand me? It's about, it's a business. So I stopped freestyling, but bro, I just used to leave dead bodies all over the place. You understand me?
Now, how did you get your name, MC Duke?
When I was younger, the nearest place to me that had a lot of clubs that would play black music was Ilford. And all of the clubs down there had heraldic names. And I used to beat everybody on the dance floor. And so, like, there was lords, kings, the princess, you know, they all had heraldic names. And I used to go in there and smash the dance floor to pieces. And then the name Duke just kind of went from there. Do you understand?
What did someone come up to you say, oh, here comes the Duke?
It was one almost like that. You understand me? Almost on, because I come in a place like a cowboy, blood.
Firing and blazing.
Yeah, I'm coming in there like a cowboy. You understand what I'm saying? So I think it kind of something to do with that, because I have had a couple of people kept going to me why I oughta. I never understood it, but it's something to do with John Wayne.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they did call John Wayne the Duke, didn't they?
Yeah.
And also on one of your covers, Duke, you know, you actually look like the Duke of East London, the Duke of East London. You know, you're popping off like the little walking stick, like you look smartly dressed. You got the flat cap on. What was the reason for that kind of old gentleman kind of look?
Because I didn't. By that time there, I was more comfortable being a British MC, and I didn't want to look like everybody from New York, which I looked like before. So I wanted to sort of benchmark it and go, right, this is UK shit. You ain't seen nobody in America doing this type of shit.
And wearing a tweed jacket.
Yeah. I made it look as English as possible.
And the thing is, it suited you as well. You look great. Thank
you very much.
Where did you get the clobber from? Did you get it made, or was it from you got it from a shop?
Selfridges. We hit all the main stores in the West End to put it all together, because I used to do modelling. See, before that, I told you I was already famous before the record deals. I knew how to get my clobber together. Do you understand what I mean? Did you take a good picture?
Did you do a bit of modelling, like what in magazines?
No, catwalk and all sorts, and magazines.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh, but I did. You know, I did modelling contracts as far as Japan. Again, this is all way before the record deals. So, like, it was just, to me, it was just another rung in the ladder. And every other skill that I had in my arsenal, I was using that too.
Yeah. Well, as you do, you know, you got to like earn the crust. What was it that kind of gave you your first break? Was it one of the DMs? You was at one of the DMCs?
Yeah. The guy at the time they used to have an MC competition to go alongside the DJ competition, and the guy that won the UK MC competition come to Busby's, got on the stage and challenged anybody in the crowd to a rap battle. So the whole crowd from Covent that was there just started going Duke like that. So I went up there and I destroyed him. And then Simon Harris was there with Derek B. Simon's asking Derek who I am. Derek known me for years. You understand me? So they said to me, yeah, do I want to meet him in a record label at the office the next day? I went in there, I freestyled for Chris France and that, and he just pulled out a contract and slapped it on the table.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah.
When was the first time you met Derek B?
Derek's an East London boy. The same clubs I was talking to you about in Ilford, Derek used to frequent them, and he would DJ at some of them. And then him and Trevor Nelson, and that they used to do the haunted house parties in an abandoned mansion in Wanstead. So I knew Derek from 81, 82.
And as well as Derek being, you know, a great MC, did Derek also dabble on the body popping and the breaking?
No. He did a little bit of boogie dancing, but he wasn't really. That was too much for him. Yeah.
He was more of a boogie boy.
Yeah, he was a boogie boy. Yeah.
You know, how did you get to hook up with Leader One, your DJ?
Again, Leader One. We used to go clubbing. Me, his brother.
From the same manor.
Yeah. Well, we used to we'd all get the same bus to the clubs and get the night bus back together. And because I was into the garment reappropriation them times there, they all used to buy clothes off of me. And then we'd all go out at the night, you know what I mean?
Go clubbing.
We'd have, because back then there'd be sound systems that would just play straight funk and soul and stuff. And so one of the guys that used to live around our way was like the top DJ in Charlie Brown. And they used to do the same thing that Derek and Trevor Nelson used to do, which would be they'd hold like illegal parties in car parks and abandoned warehouses, and you know, there was that was a whole nother scene where a bag of money got made by the streets. That was just a whole nother scene in itself. It was following behind what Trevor Nelson and Norman J and them guys were doing, but it was catering to our age group, whereas them guys were a few years older than us.
I think it was 88, 89. You had the Hustlers Convention.
Yeah, that was Musical Life's first birthday party.
Yeah, and you was on stage obviously with Merlin, and Merlin was from my manor. I knew Merlin, you know, when he was like early doors around 84ish. I knew Merlin, maybe slightly earlier, but you know, Merlin was also a beast on the microphone, and you was on stage with Merlin. It was kind of a very kind of friendly kind of way. You was kind of MCing with each other. I mean, that was absolutely brilliant to hear that.
We was actually battling Overlord X. Overlord X tried to front and wanted to have a rap battle with me. So I said to him, come, get on the stage, let me show you. You understand me? He stuttered. And then afterwards refused to let the recording be released. Yeah? Now remember, this is Cafe de Paris. The place is full, right? You got Queen Latifah all up in there. Beastie Boys was in there, a gang of people from America, and this guy wants to battle me, and then in the rap battle he goes like that. So it was just, so what happened was Merlin was up on stage on my side in the battle, and he was up there with some of his guys. When they refused to let their piece of recording be released, they spliced it together and it sounded like me and Merlin was battling.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah.
But you know, Overlord X was wicked as well. I mean, that track he done 14 Days in May was incredible. Yeah.
Strong beats.
Did you talk to Overlord X after that?
No, we had a little beef, but it was just both of us trying to find our way in life, you know.
Well, all you guys were absolutely wicked on the mic. In 1989, obviously you dropped Riffin'. Can you, which is another Stone Cold UK classic. Can you tell me about Riffin'?
Well, again, Funky Like a Train was one of the tracks that we used to listen to when we used to go to the warehouse parties.
That's that was a big tune, wasn't it? Funky Like a Train.
Exactly.
Exactly. It was played, wasn't it? At White Club, they was all playing it.
Exactly. See, so this is the same with Miracles. All I did was take stuff that I used to jam to a couple of years ago that I know everybody will know, even though the tracks are old. Yeah, everybody that I know will know them, and they'll know what I'm doing. And then just by putting that banging beat on it, you know, the rest is history, bro.
It was going to work. It was going to work.
Yeah. Those ideas were simple. Those ideas were like, we listen to this all the time. Do you understand me? So why not use it?
Yeah, no.
And then you didn't have to worry about sample clearance. You understand?
And what you up to nowadays? Very quickly.
Well, obviously, I released 2 tracks this year, but because of COVID, we didn't get to go out there and promote them. But you can find they're on YouTube. There's one called "I'm Back," Describes, and Astro Snare featuring myself. And then there's a track by me and Leader One called "Globe," which is available on all DSPs. And I've found a new kid that I'm working with called Keats. We're working on stuff now, and I'm hoping 21, 22, we're going to launch him, and yeah.
And what I do, Duke, for your tunes that you've released, I'll put like a link in the description below so people can click on them and check out your new music.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that.
And also, very quickly, is there any kind of big highlights from back in the day?
Touring with Public Enemy.
Wow.
Yeah, touring with Public Enemy and sharing a stage with Tupac when he was still a dancer.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, but sharing a stage with Public Enemy, doing a tour with them, the European tour, and Sinead O'Connor as well. She saw me, heard me, and took me on my first major tour as a rapper. So yeah.
So they are kind of like your big highlights. And is there anyone you want to kind of give a little shout out to? Or there's so many people, you don't want to miss anyone. Do you want to give a shout out to everyone that knows you and who supported your music?
I want to shout out my brother DJ Leader One. I want to shout out my brother AG Simpson, my kids, Alex, Barry, Tony even, one of my mates. Yeah, they've all been the backbone, man. They've held me up. They've held me up a long time. And Alison Dyer. Yeah. Yeah,
big shout out to all them. Well, listen, it's been absolutely brilliant interview, Duke. And thanks for coming on board. And anybody watching this, please subscribe to the channel and check out my other interviews too. And I've interviewed Public Enemy as well as many other artists. And I hope Duke, I hope you enjoyed this too.
Yeah, I did, man. I did. I told you, you set me off, man, and I can go on forever. The story's only half told anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you need to write a book or something like that, or upload.
I've been told that, man. I've been told that. Yeah. So many times. Yeah. People keep saying to me, "Oh, you can do it a little bit at a time. You can do it this way. You can do it that way." And I should have started it this year, to be honest. But like I said, I've been trying to upgrade the brain by doing some uni courses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up.
You got to keep up with the technology. And listen, thanks also doing anyone watching this. I'm going to be doing a mini documentary on the impact of COVID-19 in London. And I've interviewed Duke as well. Duke's touched on this as well, as I've got loads of others lined up to interview about this as well. So please check that, which is going to be coming out soon. But listen, Duke, absolute honour, my man.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Steve.
Listen, stay safe and stay COVID free, my man. Okay.
Trying. One.
Peace from the southeast.